Titans, 26-0. It's about time CJ Stroud finally did something, and congratulations on getting that done. The Buffalo Bills did end up beating the New Orleans Saints 31-19. The Philadelphia Eagles ended up beating the Bucks 31-25. Detroit Lions handled business, man, against the Cleveland Browns 34-10. And the New England Patriots, they ended up beating them Carolina Panthers, who worked pretty hot coming into the game, 42-13. Bryce Young ended up couldn't do it last night, man, but hey, better luck next time, man. Back to the drawing board. You know how it is. Jaguars beat the 49ers 26-21. The Rams end up beating the Colts 27-20 in a really, really tough, tight game, man. And if y'all didn't see any of that game, I will say this, young man, hold on to the ball, man. Hold on to the ball until you cross the end zone, man. Come on, man. Do you realize that that touchdown is the reason y'all lost? Not getting it, giving them that 2 points on that safety. Come on, man. Somebody, I heard Cam Newton say something earlier about the sleeve on their arm and stuff like that. You know, it being it could hurt them because the ball could slip away real easily. Not to have something on your forearm. Maybe you need to tell that brother that that was in Indianapolis, man, because that's the reason why they took that L. The Kansas City Chiefs did beat the Baltimore Ravens 37-20, and who knows what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson because that man suffered a hamstring injury. Who knows how long he's going to be out? It's going to hurt a lot of fantasy teams, and it's going to definitely hurt the real Baltimore Ravens. So we'll see what happens with them. Tonight, the New York Jets end up taking that L to the Miami Dolphins. Like I said earlier, Tyreek Hill get better, but at least your team end up getting that W for you, man, 27-21. I ain't gonna forget about the Chicago Squares, man. I ain't, man. I almost want to, but I ain't gonna forget about the Chicago Squares, man. They end up getting a victory over the Raiders. What was it, 25-24? Because this dude got his field goal kick blocked. To me, this is the year of field goals getting blocked. That's what I'm saying all the time. Man, happen again. And the last game of the weekend, it was the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Denver Broncos. The Broncos is putting a whooping on them right now. It was 28-3 last we saw. Pretty sure that game was over. It only had a couple minutes left in it when we did see it last. So that's the NFL that ran it down. That's all we have going on in the NFL, MP.
Yeah, man, a lot of big injuries, man. Something's going on with all these injuries, man. Something's going on with all these injuries in the NFL. A lot of players are nowadays they, tearing the ACL, MCL, all type of stuff. Kneecap, man, and I've never seen so many bicep tears. In the history of the NFL. So something's going on, man. I don't know, man. That technology is better, but I don't know. Is it good for the game? I don't know, man. Or should they go back to the drawing board, running up hills like Jerry Rice used to do and stuff with the umbrella and stuff with the running umbrella? I don't know, man. But we're gonna get into, I guess, our special guest, man, and start running down some real good questions and everything that we have for him. Man, we do have a special guest for him, and I'm gonna let Mr. GPG introduce this special person.
Very special guest, man. And to be honest with you, he'll be more qualified to tell you anything about the NFL injuries, the turf, and everything that the NFL is dealing with. This man right here came straight out of Davenport Central, man, got drafted went to the University of Northern Iowa and then got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. This man right here, man, out of the third round, he was picked the 57th pick. This man had a 10-year career. 160 games he played. He had 37 sacks over his career, 373 solo tackles. He forced 11 fumbles. This man, I'm so happy to have this man in studio. You guys, please give it up for James Alfie Jones.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining the show, my brother. Thank you so much, man.
Hey man, appreciate you having me in. Like I said earlier, I'm glad you're doing what you said you was gonna do. Last time we talked, and now look what you got going on, man. So I'm proud of you guys.
Man.
Y'all got it going, man.
Thank you,
I'm
man.
happy to
Thank
be
you,
here,
man.
bro.
We just trying to grow, man. Trying to do something that we enjoy doing. You know what I'm saying? You know, we weren't fortunate to be able to play into the league. You know what I'm saying? And be able to do what you was able to do in your career, man. But we are definitely glad to have you out here as a guest on the show, man.
Appreciate it, man. Anytime.
That is for sure, man. But man, we ain't gonna waste your time, man, because I wanna start from the beginning with you,
Okay.
Alfie. I wanna start from the beginning,
All right.
because it ain't everybody that get drafted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't everybody that get drafted, and I want to know what it's like to get drafted, man. Where were you when you got drafted, man? What was you doing? Was you partying? Was you kicking it? Was you at the draft? What was you doing, man? Was you with your family? What, bro?
Okay, so when I came out in 1991, uh, the draft was on ESPN, but it was only shown for like about, I think it was like 6 hours.
Mhm.
You know, they would show 6 hours of the first, and it was back then. It was they just kept rolling. Wasn't no first round, first day, second, third round the other day. Then it wasn't a 3 day draft. It was
Okay.
a big deal, and we had 12 rounds.
Yeah.
So ESPN would just broadcast, and generally they would get like the first 3 or 4 rounds in their time slot.
Mhm.
Well, when I came out in '91, the first round was the longest first round in history because of trades and things like that. So when I actually got drafted, it was actually not on ESPN because it had just got the broadcaster got cut off. So a little backstory to that. The year before that, my teammate Bryce Pop played with me at Northern Iowa for 3 years, defensive player of the year for the Buffalo Bills in 1995.
Yeah.
He came out here before me.
Okay.
He was projected to go in the second round.
Okay.
So I never forget, I happened to go home that weekend of the draft. And so when I'm coming back to school, I had to drive by his duplex where he lived with his roommates. He was having a little get together with his family and stuff like that, and his friends and stuff. So I said, but back then we didn't have phones and podcasts.
Right.
It was off the radio, so I couldn't listen to it on the radio at all. That kind of thing. We didn't have satellite radio. You had to do the AM/FM. So I'm driving back, and so I'm like, I know he got drafted, but I didn't know when. And I'm like, okay, so I pull up, and I go into his spot, right? And I pull in, and I walk in the door, man. I see him, and I see the people, and they kind of like down. I was like, Bryce, man, what's up, man? I said, where'd you go? Where'd you get drafted? He said, man, I ain't got drafted yet. I was like, what? I said, what round he in? He's like, they're in the third, fourth round. He said, I ain't with yet. I was like, oh man. So from that point, I was like, if I get drafted, if I have a chance to get drafted next year, I ain't having nothing because no, I'm not going out like that.
Right.
So when I got drafted, what I did was I was at my apartment with my roommates. And so my roommates, they played basketball. I don't know if you remember a guy named Troy Mullenberg. He went to Davenport West, all-state basketball player and football player. He wound up playing basketball at Northern Iowa. So here's my roommate. My other roommate's name was John Cox. He was a basketball player from Springfield, Illinois.
Mhm.
So I was like, hey, man, my mom is like, oh, you want to have a party? I was like, nope, I don't want nothing. Right here in my apartment.
Right, man.
And so they ask you, what number you going to be at in case you get the call. So my roommate's like, John, he's like, I'm answering the phone. I'm answering the phone. I was like, all right, man, cool. Bro, I went outside, I washed my truck, waxed my truck, just biding my time. And then finally, the first round was over.
Mhm.
Or not first round was over. They were in the second round, but the draft was over.
Mhm.
And he was like, I ain't get a call yet, nothing happened yet. So then finally he yelled out, he's like, hey, man, got a call. I think it's them. I think it's them. So I came up, grabbed the phone. It was Bill Belichick, who was the new head coach at the Browns. That was his first job. Yeah. 91. And he was like, hey, you're drafted, you ready to be a Brown, that kind of thing. I was like, yeah, and then talked to the D-line coach. But I kind of have an inkling because Belichick and Mike Lombardi, who was an assistant general manager, Belichick was the only head coach that actually came to Cedar Falls to UNI to work me out.
Really?
And man, he worked me out like a dog, bro.
Really?
I was by myself. Usually pro days, we have no pro days for in my school because I was the only guy that really had the prospect. So when I had to work out, it was just me. Man, dude worked me out for about an hour, just running through bags and doing all kind of stuff, man. No break. And so I kind of inkling that they kind of like what they saw and that kind of thing. So that's how I got drafted, man.
Wow, that's crazy, man. So now that's funny because Bill Belichick, every time we see him, he come off, as, this dude that don't really want to talk to nobody.
Mhm.
He's this, I'm getting ready for I'm getting ready for Tennessee. I'm getting ready for Kansas City.
Right. Yeah.
His lips barely move, something like that, and he just sing. But is he like that?
Not
For real?
No.
Is he like
He was the problem that he dealt with in Cleveland. Remember, he had a New York background where he started to rise up, even he was working for the Giants.
okay?
So he watched Parcells, and the New York media, is the New York media. They come and at you. So when he came into Cleveland, he kind of was like, I don't have to deal with these guys. And I can give you the least amount of information you need. But behind the scenes, man, he was pretty cool. You know what I mean? He was a great teacher. He knew what he wanted. One thing you can say about Belichick is he knew football. He could tell you what you need to do technique wise. He was thorough and probably learned just as much more from him than just about any other coach I ever played for. And then you got to remember too, Nick Saban was our defensive coordinator at the same time.
No, I didn't remember that.
Wow. Yeah, so 91, Belichick got the job.
Okay.
That was my first year.
Right.
And Nick Saban was our D coordinator.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I know you learned a lot from them, too.
Now, Nick was a straight shooter. He could micromanage. But one thing about Nick Saban is you always knew he stood. He didn't play no games or nothing like that. But he wanted stuff done a certain way. And that's how you have
I bet.
That's why he was a great college coach.
Yeah, man.
Didn't work at pros well, but in college, he was a great college coach.
What's the difference? Why didn't it work why did his philosophy work in the NFL compared to college rankings and level?
In college, he's in control of the whole program.
Okay.
Everything. And your college kids, they're impressionable, 18. You're going from a 18-year-old kid, and by the time they leave, you're a 22-year-old young adult, not a man yet, but a young adult. And he can control that.
Okay.
In the pros, you're dealing with grown men, their families, and
grown people, right?
Issues.
Right.
And you just ain't gonna just micromanage a grown man like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he can't have control over everything.
Yeah.
And so, where it's like, okay, so think about it. At Alabama, he can tell the players, nobody use Twitter, nobody use Facebook. Y'all ain't gonna do none of that. You can't tell them that.
Yeah, I'm about to say
You can say you can't tell them in the locker room, but you can't tell them outside what they're gonna do.
Right, man. You're gonna tell that man that you can sit there and tell him how it is you're gonna do it as a grown man.
Exactly.
That's a grown man.
So that's the hard part. That was the difference. But he's great coach, man.
Ain't that something, man? MP, you got anything you wanted to ask him, man? You want any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to know. So on the night you got the call, right? What and how did it affect you, and how did it change the people that was real close in your inner circle? Just how they looked at you, and just how they was treating you, and did you see a difference? How did it impact your life?
I didn't see a difference. I'm going to take the second part first.
Okay.
I didn't see a difference until years later, to tell you the truth, because I always was just me. But how it affected me, I never forget when I got drafted. I got the call and I talked to everybody, and then the local TV station was calling me. They wanted me to come down and do an interview. I did all that. But I remember I talked to my roommates, and I looked at my roommates, and I was like, well, it's just time to go to work. I looked at it as it's the next level. Mm-hmm. It's the last level because you can't go any higher than that. But it's the next level. I never looked at it as that. I wasn't just happy to be drafted. Right. Yes, it was nice, and I was excited and happy for it, but it wasn't the end all. To me, that was the beginning. And I had to go and put in this work and show these people that, hey, I can play at this level. And what gave me the confidence was going into my senior year, I was playing. I got a call from there was all-star games. Being from a 1AA school, you don't get to go to a lot of senior bowls and the other different postseason games. But I got a call from the Blue-Gray game. There was a game called the Blue-Gray All-Star game, played in Montgomery, Alabama, and I got a call. And I went there and played that game. It was Christmas Day. So I go to the game and play, and the Division I school teams, players that were there, were players that teams were on probation, schools on probation, or they didn't make a bowl game. Mm-hmm. So Oklahoma was on probation. Mm-hmm. That was after the whole Charles Thompson stuff that went down, and Bear Switcher got fired and all that. Kind of had to resign. Yeah. Pitt's program was down, so they had guys there. LSU was on probation, so they had players there. Kentucky was always kind of like also ran, in the SEC. So a lot of those guys are there. And I never forget, I get there, we get to practice, and we go to practice, and I'm watching these guys. I'm like, okay, I've seen this guy play, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Texas, Oklahoma, the battle, Red River battle. I seen these guys make plays, and I'm like, I'm just as good as these guys. So that's what gave me the confidence going into starting to play go to the NFL, that I could play at that level. But back to the second part of the question, you get some, not necessarily backlash, but you get some chirping of people thinking that you act differently, or they say that you hear that type of talk. I didn't get that till later, and it was always secondhand. It never was firsthand. But for the most part, most people have always been. I really didn't get a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? But anytime you get elevated, sometimes people elevate you higher than you elevate yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that because you're like, hey, I'm just me.
Right.
Just like the first time we finally met, I was just like, hey, man, what's up? It's just me. You know what I'm saying? Everyday people.
Yeah.
And we had a, 5-hour conversation.
Oh, man. I think
And it was all good.
it inspired me to want to do
Yeah,
it like that. I think it was one of the best conversations that we ever had.
Exactly.
I will never forget that day, man. We was going at it.
Yeah.
Boy, we
Back
had
and
topics back and forth.
Yeah.
That was one of the best conversations. Hey, man, let me tell you, man, I talk about that. I talk about that still to this day. That happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah, about a year.
But that conversation, that bond that I felt like we
Right.
grew.
Right.
But I'll also tell you something right there. You also told me something at the end of that day.
What's that?
You told me, you said, hey, man, do that.
Yeah.
Do that podcast,
Yeah,
man.
I did.
That you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And when you told me that,
Mm-hmm.
I called MP.
Okay.
And the first thing I said was, yo, I just heard from a professional athlete that we should do this, MP.
Yeah.
Let's get it, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. And we've been put together ever since, man.
You have the passion to do it, and that's what you need in anything you do. It's like in athletics and football. I get people a lot of times that I have, oh, I got a son, I got a cousin, nephew. Would you like to talk? Would you talk to them for me? First thing I ask them is that, you got my number. Have them call me because I'm not going to push you in anything. Because first of all, you got to have the want to.
Right.
And you would be surprised at how many times I don't get a call. Because generally it's the parent that wants it, not the kid.
Right.
And if the kid don't want it, it's not gonna go.
What is it?
What is it? What is exactly?
Man, look, man, you got drafted by the Cleveland Browns, man, early, man, and I looked up some film on you, man. I had a couple of my guys send me some things on you. I watched clips, from you and the dog pound and everything, man. And then I saw some players, man, that I know some of our guests will be familiar with as far as the names, man. Names like a Eric Metcalf that you played with, a Vinny Testaverde that you played with, a Pepper Johnson.
Right.
These guys that you played with, man. And then I'm looking and I'm like, Alfie started every single game
Just about
these years.
Yeah.
And look at this. Look at this, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this man right here, man. And I'm like, you see the dog pound. I saw the clips, and I see the versatility, man. The one thing that the people may not know is that you was drafted as a left defensive tackle.
Yeah.
But you also had hands, Alfie.
Yeah.
You also came on. I did my research. I told you, my man. I did my research, man. I seen you had to pick six.
Right.
I seen you had to pick six in 1991 that you ran back for a 20-yard touchdown.
Right. Indianapolis.
And in Indianapolis. I seen you had another. I seen Baltimore. Baltimore was growing up playing for you later on in your career. So I did my little homework on you, man. You wasn't just one of those dudes, man, that did left tackle, man. That was, what is that, man? What was it? What was it? Just the versatility? They was just throwing you out there. They thought you could do it. What was that?
Growing up. So what inspired me to play football was, Quad Cities is a fertile ground for athletes. A lot of people don't realize that. You go back to like the 50s, and you had a Gene Baker that played Major League Baseball for the Pirates and the Cubs. Played with Ernie Banks.
Yeah.
He was second baseman. Ernie Banks was shortstop. You had Gail Hopkins, who was a long jumper, Olympic long jumper, and matter of fact, wound up working at the University of Arizona until he passed away. You had guys like Jim Jensen, who was a central running back, played for the Broncos. Of course, Roger Craig and Jamie Williams. They grew up on my street.
Yeah.
So I would see Jamie Williams and his younger brother Darren and I were best friends growing up. And so I would see Jamie run up and down 9th Street, you know what I'm saying? In Goose Hollow, which is right back behind my house, running the hills and running down there. Roger lived around the corner. You see those guys working out. And when I was growing up, man, going to Jefferson Elementary, then J.B. Young, we couldn't wait to get to Central.
Yeah.
Central was it, and we couldn't wait to get there.
Yeah.
So I had that inspiration. So growing up at JB, we had small numbers. So I played both ways. Offense, I was a fullback. Defense, I was a defensive linebacker, defensive end. So I went to Central, same thing. play both ways. So I had, learn how to catch the ball in the backfield, learn how to, and my thing was whatever needs to be done, I'm willing to do it.
Right.
I played special teams. I played kickoff team. I played kickoff return. My fresh rookie year, I played kickoff return. I mean, played kickoff my rookie year. I played kickoff return pretty much the whole time. On punt team, I played everything on the punt team. I was a up back. I was the personal protector behind the line, calling out the signals and stuff like that. Didn't play gunner, but everything else I did. Punt return, I was the rush guy, and then peel and block. I blocked for a couple Metcalf's touchdowns. When he ran them back, great athlete, man. I mean, those guys was Eric was just a different level, and so and then when I got into the league, Belichick threw me, I played a little fullback, so I became a blocking back on goal line situations. And the one thing he always used to tell us was that the more you can do, the better chance you're gonna have to be on this team.
There you go.
And so it was never above me to say, "Oh, I'm just a defensive player. I'm a football player. Whatever you need me to do, I'm gonna go out there and do it."
There you go.
And that was my attitude my whole career. So I was able to, I got a safety. I made a safety on James Brooks. I ran interception back for a touchdown, caught 2 touchdown passes,
Yes.
ran a touchdown in, what I'm saying? And my thing was always, okay, as a defender, what am I supposed to do? Get the ball back to the offense. So that's what made me always grind, hustle, get the recoveries, knock the ball loose. I was always thinking like that. And I had coaches that push that and bring that in me. So the thing was, be available.
There you go.
And when you're available, be productive, know what to do, and do your job. If you do that, you can have a successful career or anything.
There you go.
Yeah. I got a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
So we got some people that's on live right now. They got a couple questions for you. Two questions from Sydney _11076. If you recall, if you can recall, what is or was your favorite play of all time, favorite play of all time, I guess.
So,
And with any team, I guess, that you played with throughout your time.
wow, my favorite play of all time. Oh man. Let's see.
That's a good one.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm doing thinking. Yeah,
Because we just talked about
Yeah.
how you was versatile.
Right.
You did so much. So
Right.
that's got to be a
If I had to say
Pretty hard
one
question.
play, it's actually not even a play that I actually did anything as far as scoring or anything like that. But in 1994, we were playing the Arizona Cardinals, and I think they were Phoenix Cardinals at the time. And I never forget Eric Turner, our safety guy, rest in peace, Eric Turner. He passed away young, 29, with stomach cancer. We came in the same year together. He was the second pick overall, the highest safety ever drafted in the NFL.
wow.
From UCLA. And Eric was, he had range that was just out of this world. He was a great athlete. And so Eric they were giving him grief and stuff like that. He had second pick overall. He ain't made a Pro Bowl yet. We're in our fourth year now. And I never forget, Eric came in at camp. He was ready to go, man. He was like, "Hey, man, we gonna do this." So Eric picked off a pass at like the 10-yard, 9-yard line, and he takes off. He's headed to the dog pound, and you throw the pass, and you break back. And so as I broke back, one of the linemen for the Cardinals, a guy named Ernest Dye, never forget, he broke to try to go make the tackle. And you can't do this anymore, but that was kind of like the old blind side Warren when Warren Sapp to go do that. I hit him, man. And not only did I take him out, but took out two other guys. So their guys, and Eric took it back 91 years to the dog pound too. And just to be able to spring my teammate. I always looked at myself as a kind of like the setup guy. I knew I had talent and I knew I could play, but I knew, what my role was.
I was gonna say what your role was.
I had a Pro Bowler next to me, Michael D. Perry,
Mhm.
who was unreal. I mean, Michael D. Perry was just, he doesn't get the recognition. You look at some of his highlights that you expect. So all I had to do is make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and set guy. I would like to set guys up like my end. I talked to my boy Robert that he and I played together 7 years, same side by side. And I would tell Rob, "Hey man, anytime you want to take a shot, just let me know. I'll cover up for you. So I was always trying to be the solidifier. I learned the defense. I knew where everybody's supposed to be, help get guys lined up, make sure everything runs smooth. That was my role in most of the teams I played for. And because like I said, as an athlete, you know where you stand. You know, okay, yeah, I'm good, but I ain't Bruce Smith.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when you're honest with yourself and you be real with you and you're real with yourself, you can establish yourself and have a good career.
There you go.
And they pay for that too. Team pay for that. You know what I'm saying? They do.
I bet.
They do.
Now you was with the Cleveland Browns for 4 years.
Correct.
And then after that 4 years, you went to Denver.
Correct.
Now you were only in Denver for a year.
Correct.
Now why was that stint so short in Denver?
Okay. So in 1993, I don't know if you remember the Reggie White case, NFL free agency. That's basically how full-fledged free agency came along. Reggie White sued the NFL.
Okay.
Remember when he went to Green Bay?
Yes.
When he went to Green Bay,
When
he had a lawsuit against NFL to say that, hey, I should be able to shop my services because when I came to the league, whoever drafted you, they owned your rights forever.
Wow.
Unless they released you.
Wow.
So it wasn't no moving team to team unless you got traded or they released you outright.
So it wasn't no like you signed a contract or a rookie deal, you there for 4 years, and after that negotiated, all that stuff that's going on in the NFL right now.
You can only negotiate with your team.
That's it.
That's it.
And if they can, if they decide we're gonna negotiate, there's nothing you can do about it.
Hold out. That's it.
So, question and I don't want to cut y'all off, but is that somewhat could be part of the reason why Barry Sanders went on and left the way he left?
No, Barry.
Okay.
Barry left because and I'm kind of part of that too.
Okay.
I came to Detroit the year he quit,
and I was gonna ask you, yeah.
I was kind of surprised. I never met him. Played
Okay.
him twice, but I never
Okay.
got a chance to meet him because he never came to mini camp or anything like that. And they wasn't sure if he was going to show up for training camp.
Right.
And he just jetted. He just, and he talks about it in that documentary.
Mhm.
And some of the guys that I played with in Detroit, they knew him really well. He's just like, I was tired. He's like, I was just burnt out because, this game is mental more than it's physical.
Mm.
What I mean by that is the mental grind of preparing your body. And if you lose, if you want to win, you lose it, man, that takes a toll on you.
Right.
And so mentally you get worn out. So you got to look at Barry Sanders. So Barry Sanders, if you look at his stats, every year in his career, he rushed for at least 1,500 yards. Okay. 1998, last game of the season, I'm in Baltimore still. We played the Detroit Lions, right? Barry broke a little like 20-yard run on us. So he's got like 15:02. All right. Next play or two, he runs the ball, 2-yard loss. Another play again, 3-yard loss. So now he's under 1490. So he's
Right.
under 1400. He never got the ball the rest of the game. We beat them. We wound up being, they weren't going anywhere. We didn't make the playoffs either, but so he never got the ball the rest of the game. He and Coach Ross, Bobby Ross, who was our coach when I went to Detroit, they didn't really see eye to eye on how a running back should run. Coach Ross was Army, old school. Get the ball, hit it, get upfield.
Right.
Barry might lose 7 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then he gonna break 80. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he lost more yards than anybody in the NFL.
Yes, that's
history.
it. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Coach Ross
Before he
didn't like
ended up turning around, that was just what made him special.
Exactly. Sometimes he liked to run out of a one-back set. Well, Coach Ross liked the fullback. So that was a clash. And then also, the year he rushed for 2,000,
Yeah.
the next year they didn't re-sign the center, Kevin Glover. And he wound up going to Seattle. So he was like, we just rushed for 2,000 yards. I'm going to let my center go. So there was some internal things like that was going on. And then, like I said, more than anything, though, he just got tired. It's like, I'm done. And when you get to that point, when you get to that point, people say, well, you're getting paid because, he paid this. Usually the team will make you pay your signing bonus back like that because it's prorated. And especially if you're a superstar like Barry Sanders, but the Lions made him pay it back. And so he was upset about that. Yeah, they kind of didn't hurt him.
So see,
That's why he stayed away for a long
it's a
time.
whole bunch of stuff that was going
A
on.
lot of stuff was going on.
Okay, that's the reason why, everybody like a 10-year career cut short. He's about to break Walter Payton's rushing record. Why would he leave,
Exactly.
at this certain time, but
If you're not happy, you're tired, you're burnt out. And if you go out there and try to do it, you're gonna get hurt. So my short stint in Denver, so 94, I was free agent. So I wind up signing with the Broncos as a free agent, big signing free agent. Myself and Michael Dean Perry, we both went there at the same time.
Yeah, you was there
95.
1 year.
And so what happened was when I went to Denver, I got a big contract and I actually felt like I had made it. Okay, I got a big free agent contract. You know what? Now I can kind of not do everything that I need to do. So I kind of relaxed. And I can admit that to myself. So I went to camp. I wasn't in great shape. And I was gonna say you didn't work as hard? I didn't work as hard in the off season.
Okay.
Didn't work as hard.
You didn't work as hard.
But then once I got there, I, ramped it up. But
Right.
now I'm behind the 8 ball.
Right.
Denver's defense was kind of different. It really wasn't a good fit for me and how I played and that. So then the next year, 96, I go to mini camp. And I'm still a little heavier than I should be at that time. And Denver's kind of more of a stickler of they want you in shape in April and May and June and stuff like that. And so so I whereas in Cleveland, it was like, okay, you come to this your weight at training camp, you come in at that weight and then you go, which I always made weight.
Right.
So when I got to Denver, so I went out there and I came a little heavy at mini camp. And so the defense coordinator was giving me some beef about it. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, I got you. So I came home and that summer after that mini camp, I got in the best shape of my career. But I was at home. They didn't see the progress. My wife was pregnant. So our daughter was born prematurely. So I'm back and forth to the hospital, but I'm still doing the workouts. I'm still in shape, ready to go. And I'm like, okay, I know I got to produce this year. I got to be ready to go. Like I said, I was in the best shape of my career, but they hadn't seen because my wife it was a high risk pregnancy. So the day I go to get ready to go to fly from Quad City to Denver to go to training camp, my agent called me. He's like, James, don't go. They're going to release you. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, they're going to release you. So I said, okay. So Mike Shanahan was our coach. Mike Shanahan calls me. Yeah. And he says, hey, we're gonna release you. He said, but we might break. I told him, I said, here's how you know when you know football. I said, Coach, I understand. I said, but I'm in shape. I'm ready to go. I said, but I want to be part of this team. This team is going to win Super Bowl. I knew it by just being with those guys. This team is a year or two away from winning. You know that when you're on the team, you know, okay, this team got a shot. Yeah. And he's like, okay, we might bring you back. So it didn't happen. So it was a blessing in disguise because how God flipped it for me was when I got that free agent contract, I kind of stepped away from him, thinking that I had made it. And it brought me back into focus because I had a premature daughter and my wife was having health complications. And I'll never forget, I was at home and different teams were calling me, wanting me to come into training camp. I'm like, I know the game. I ain't gonna be no camp body. Y'all ain't gonna bring me 2 weeks and they cut me, Nah. So I was sitting at home. It was right before the last preseason game. And I'm sitting at home. My wife was home. My daughter was still in the hospital. And I told my wife, I told my wife, I said, if I don't get a call this week, then my career might be over. I might be done. So said that to my wife, and I told the Lord at that time, and I said, Lord, if this is the end of my career, it's the end of my career. I said, but if it's not, from this point forward, I'm going to play for you, meaning that no matter what comes, no matter what happens, I'm going to give the team everything I got. If it's not good enough, I'm okay with it. Next day or 2 days later, I got a call from the Baltimore Ravens, who were the Cleveland Browns. But see, they were the Cleveland Browns. Remember the Browns were the Baltimore. Yes. So all those guys were that was my old organization. L, the owner, Ozzie Newsome, the general manager. Yes. Ozzie called my agent. He said, I need a defensive tackle. I need James because we got a guy named Larry Webster, defensive tackle, was about to get suspended, his second drug suspension. Okay. He's like, I need a defensive tackle. I need James. Ozzie flew me out and gave me a signing bonus that he didn't have to do. Gave me a signing bonus, and I was glad to go back there because the defensive line coach at Cleveland came to Baltimore with them as well. And I learned more. I had my best years as far as growing as a player and technique-wise under my coach, Jacob Burney. So I want to go back to a familiar place. But Baltimore, when you signed with the Baltimore Ravens, they moved you to nose tackle. Well, I played both. I really kind of played both. They would say nose tackle, D tackle. Uh, I played. We had left and right defensive tackles in Cleveland, but I played on the nose and I played the three technique as well. We got basically a nose and a three technique, depending on the formation and the defensive coverage. I might be on the nose one time, I might be a three technique. But yeah, I kind of focused on the nose technique.
Was that a basic 4-3 that they was
We
running?
ran 4-3, but I played a tilt nose, like a Joe Klecko cock nose.
Okay,
I
like
played some tilt,
okay,
and that was what I had learned under, so that's why I always played it. Yeah.
okay, yeah.
And see, the thing about why they always had me at the nose tackle in Baltimore was because if the nose tackle gets cut off, he can cut off. If the center can cut you off, they can cut off half the defense.
Ah.
So with my footwork and my technique and how I played and being a smart player, I was able to keep the integrity of the defense alive so that 52 back there could go do his thing.
Absolutely.
And that guy, never forget when he came, when I
Right?
yeah, right. That was his rookie year. Yeah, rookie. So when he came in,
Ray
he was
was
kind of overloaded.
Hey, they're playing Ray Lewis,
And
man.
so it was my job to line up the front so he could worry about the coverage until he got it down later on.
Right.
But one thing about that guy that was different from anybody else that I ever played with was that he could find a guy with the ball and get him on the ground better than anybody I've ever seen play.
That's
He
yeah.
could do that.
That's that. So we got some questions. You got that. Look, the chat is blowing up. I'm not even gonna lie. The chat is blowing up. Hey, look, I'm not even gonna lie. Hey, it's blowing up. I'm trying to keep up with some of the questions. So
Yes, sir.
we got Bones want to know
Yes.
who would you say is the best running back you ever played against?
Ooh, best running back I ever played against. I would say the guys that gave us and my defensive defense I played with the most problem were guys who were physical. Barry Foster, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, early '90s. Barry Foster and that
Really?
time that period that he had, me and my boys, we talk about all the time, brought the smoke. Jerome Bettis never really gave us a lot of problems because we never looked at him as a physical back until he got through the line. Right. He got through the line and he got to the secondary. Now he's running guys over stuff like that. But if you didn't give Jerome Bettis a lot, nah, we could follow him.
Tiptoe till he gets to the line.
Yeah, because he had good feet.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
he was drafted by the Rams.
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
he was drafted by the Rams because I used to watch him.
Yeah.
He'd come up to the
Yeah.
line, he'll get there,
Right.
but once he gets to the second level,
There you go.
that's
That's
when
when
he
he
put the
was in
fear
there.
in everybody.
But if you kept him bottled up, whereas Barry Foster, that dude was coming downhill like a hammer. Barry Foster, everybody talks about Christian Okoye, the Nigerian man.
Yes.
Barry Ward gave us more trouble than Christian Okoye.
I believe that.
You remember him?
Oh, absolutely. And
Yes,
if y'all
sir.
don't remember who Barry Ward was, look
Yeah.
him up, man. That was that Kansas City Chiefs.
That's
player.
right.
Boy, that
That's
was
right.
something. He was that guy that played. Well, was he back up behind Christian?
They played together.
They played a little bit together.
Rotated.
Kind of
Yeah,
rotated.
yeah.
Okay, but yeah, that
Barry
was
Ward used to have
a
more
jam
trouble
boy.
than him. Natron Means.
I remember Natron. He played for the San Diego
Yeah.
Chargers.
Natron Means.
Yes.
They had another guy, Marion Butts, at San Diego.
I remember Marion Butts too.
Same thing. Those kind of guys were the backs that I felt were tougher because you had to bring the hammer. Barry, what you had to do with Barry Sanders was you had to just take the shot. Don't break down for him. You don't see how many slings he don't tore up. Rod Woodson,
Oh my goodness.
So you just had to go and take your shot. And if you miss it, you miss him. But if you get enough guys, you get him on the ground. And I tell you what, another guy who was tough was Emmett.
Oh yeah.
Emmett was tough because Emmett's vision was unreal. He knew where the hole was after the second step. And because he was so low to the ground and shifty, and he had enough speed to get away from you, and he could just wear you down as the game going on. So, Emmett too. So that's the guys I played against.
Yeah.
I would say were the toughest. So those guys I say were the toughest backs.
All right, and then I'm gonna get one more question right quick from the chat, and then we'll go move on to where somebody else got. What? Okay, so what they say? What is the most intense game have you ever had in your career?
Oh, man, those Steeler battles, whether I was in Baltimore or Cleveland, because Cleveland and Pittsburgh are 2.5 hours away. You got half the state of Ohio Steeler fans, and those games were just flat out wars. If you played Pittsburgh, you knew you was gonna be sore the next day. uh, Houston was good at that time too. You had Warren Moon.
Oh yeah.
You know, Mike Munchak, they line, which is big physical dudes. They had their running backs were good. You know, they had Alonzo Highsmith at one time. They had Mike Rozier, but they weren't breakers. You know, they were the wide receivers that run and shoot. But their offensive line was physical. Um, but let's see, just if I could just pick one intense battle, it would probably have to be the '93 game against Pittsburgh, because that's a game Metcalf ran two punts back for touchdowns that game. I never forget. And so the second it was we was going back and forth, just hammered each other. It was like 27, 23, 21, whatever. We were losing. And it was 3rd and 1 or 2. And I'll never forget, Pittsburgh was always good for what we call tug block, tackle down, guard, swing around to get to separate the defense.
Yeah.
And it's 3rd and 2, and they tried to tug block me. I was in a 3 technique. They tried to tug block me, and I came up and plugged Struzlick by and went up and I tackled Barry Foster like 1 yard loss. And then it's 4th down. Now the guy that was usually doing the punt return at that time, he was a rookie, big dude named Dan Footman, could run like the wind. He blew his hamstring out on Metcalf's first punt return in the first quarter. I was his backup on punt return team. So I had to jump in there and I rushed the center and then peel around.
Right.
And so I make that play and I rushed the center, peel around, and took out 2 guys on to spring Metcalf on the last 2 guys. And he scored he ran like 91 yards back. But that was an intense battle. Yeah. Intense.
You know, I read a little bit about you. I think you made the playoffs twice in your
Twice.
career?
Yeah.
You made the playoffs twice in your career. Now, explain to the viewers,
Mhm.
you know, the difference between the regular season and then going into the postseason, the intensity, you know, the attention to detail that everything has to be, you know, broken down to. Explain to the viewers, man, that what's the difference between regular season football and playoff football?
Biggest difference is in the regular season, you got another week, whether you win or lose. The playoffs, you lose, you're done.
That's it.
So everything is heightened. The play isn't necessarily heightened, but the stakes are higher. So that was the biggest thing that I saw. You know, we only won one game. We beat New England in the wild card, while losing to Pittsburgh in the divisional, which was crazy about that because I'm trying to think who was #1 seed was at the time, but they got beat by Indy. So if we'd beat Pittsburgh, we would have had the AFC Championship game at home against Indy, because that's the game. Indy almost beat Pittsburgh and went to the Super Bowl that year. And I know Indy did. No, the Chargers. That was the year Chargers went to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
The Chargers beat, I don't know who they beat. I don't know if it was Houston or Buffalo or somebody, but they beat one of those teams
To go.
to go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And
That's when they had Junior Seau?
Stan Humphrey was quarterback, but we could have had the AFC Championship game at home. But yeah, we didn't wind up getting it. But I think that was '94. Yeah, it was '94. But yeah, that's the biggest difference. Is that it's heightened, and so everything you do is even more critical.
Yeah.
Because I've said this before to everybody and everybody listening. When you watch games, whether it's college or pro,
Mhm.
most games are lost rather than won. Meaning somebody makes a mistake on a blown coverage, somebody fumbles the ball, the guy doesn't do his assignment, so therefore Josh Allen rolls out, he runs 50 yards.
Yeah.
We got a blitz on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everybody's got their backs turned. And that's the key. If you can play smart, play fast, be aggressive, but don't give things away. Man, I used to get so frustrated. I get so frustrated when I watch a game and I see the defense blitz and the contain man comes underneath. I'm like, dude, if you just stand there, Nick, you say that, I can put a rock out there
Yeah.
and he'll make the play. A rock will make the play, but you just got to come inside. Why would you come inside when all the pressure's coming inside or coming from the other side? You see it all the time. Somebody it happened. I think it happened Sunday. I really don't watch a lot of games. I watch like bits and pieces, and the guy they blitzed, and the guy just stood there basically, and the quarterback just ran right to him. I'm like, that's how you make the play. Don't be greedy because it's easier to go underneath. Just stand there. Everybody do their job,
Do your job.
and you'll be all right.
That's the second in the NFL.
Yeah.
Do your job.
Bill, you say that all the time, all the time. Just do your job, do what you're supposed to do, and it'll be all right.
Like, that's great. So you end up leaving Baltimore, and then you go to the Detroit Lions, what we talked a little about earlier. You know how you just missed playing with Barry Sanders and
Right.
stuff like that. What were some of the players that you did play with on that Detroit Lions team?
So before I get to that point, I didn't want to leave Baltimore. I wanted to stay there because they gave me a second chance, and I grew spiritually and as a football player.
Mhm.
I like living in Baltimore. I like playing for the team. I like playing for the organization. They fired Ted Marchibroda, our coach. And so going into that 99 year, they hired Brian Billick. But see, my contract was up. I was a free agent. So my contract was up.
Yeah.
I would have, if they would have came to me during the season, like the end of the season, or even during the season, at the end of the season, hey, we want to resign you. This is what it's going to be. I would have signed that contract.
Yeah.
So much I really like Baltimore, which you shouldn't do because you never want to tip your hand as far as where you're at, as far as maximize your money. So I'll tell you what happened was in Baltimore. So every year, new town, new things. So every year they have a banquet at the stadium, and they have the nominees for Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So that year it was myself, Ray Lewis, Jermaine Lewis, kick returner,
Yes, I remember Jermaine Lewis,
Rod Woodson, and Mike McCreary. We were the 5 finalists for the thing. And I mean, this was big ball. They broadcasting it live on local TV in Baltimore. And the fans in Baltimore were really crazy. It was a really good time. So I never forget. So my contract's coming up, right? And I never forget the interview Art Modell. That's live on TV. They get interview Art Modell. And Art Modell says, they say, oh, what do you think about the team coming up next year and all these guys here, whatever? Art said, yeah, we're going to have a good year next year. All my good players under contract. Ray Lewis, Jermaine, Ron Woodson, McCreary, all my good players under contract. And didn't say my name. And so I was like, put that in the bank. I can be paid like that. People didn't catch that. I caught it. So I put it in the bank.
Yeah.
Okay, your good players under contract.
Okay. All right.
I done worked for you for 7 years. 4 years in Cleveland, now 3 years in Baltimore. 7 of my 10 years I spent with that organization.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And the season comes. They don't offer me a contract. I never forget, I ran to Shaq Harris, James Shaq Harris, quarterback. I was telling you about coach quarterback for the Rams, first black quarterback, started a game and playoff game and all that in the NFL. He was a pro personnel director. And Shaq saw me and he's like, hey man, what's going on? What's up? I said, Shaq, ain't nobody called me. I can't come to y'all. Ain't nobody called me. Oh, we gonna get it. We gonna get it. No worry.
Oh wow.
So now I had hurt my MCL, and so I had missed. I didn't miss any games, but I didn't finish a couple games. But everything was okay, checked out. So now I go into free agency. Now free agency about to start. So now it's too late. Now don't come to me with no contract. Now I'm going to see what the money was out
There
here.
you go. There you go.
So I had a visit set up with Jacksonville Jaguars on the first day of free agency. Okay. Then from there, I was supposed to go to the Detroit. Detroit had a visit set up with Detroit. Then from there, I was supposed to go to like the Jets, I think. So I had like 3 visits set up. This during the tampering period. They got everything set up.
No.
So the day before free agency starts, Jacksonville calls my agent. I really didn't want to go to Jacksonville because they had Tom Coughlin and Bryce Pop was there.
Yes.
And so Bryce was playing in Jacksonville, and I had a cousin that played in that at the same time named Kelvin Pritchett, deep tackle. We played same year, everything. And Kelvin was there. He went there as a free agent. They always thought that I didn't go to Jacksonville because of my cousin, that he told me don't come down here, man. It's crazy. But actually, it was Bryce Pop.
Right.
Bryce, because Bryce was like, man, they told me they're gonna have me doing this and that. Bryce was a pass rusher.
Right.
He's like, man, they got me dropping in coverage. He's like, I can't rush. He's like, they got me out of the water, but they paid him so much money. He was like, I got to go.
Yeah.
It just didn't fit for him. So anyway, the day before free agency, Jacksonville calls my agent. And they say, hey, we're not gonna bring James in on Friday. We're gonna bring him in on Monday or Tuesday, whatever, Because what happened was and so I was fortunate when I hit the market. I was always either the number 1 or number 2 defensive tackle in the market at that time, because back then, a lot of top guys that were coming up, they were re-signed, like Cortez Kennedy re-signed with Seattle.
Yeah.
Anybody that was a top tackle, usually they kept on the contract. So it was Santana Dotson, your boy, Green Bay, and myself. So we were the top 2 defensive tackles, and I think Gary Walker was 3rd. So Jacksonville already had Gary Walker. They like he already agreed we're gonna sign with y'all. So they already had Gary Walker. So they were trying to get Santana Dotson. Remember Santana took it out to the very end that year. And so they were gonna bring Santana Dotson in to visit. Well, the first day, 1201, he wound up signing back with Green Bay.
Yeah.
Got paid. So now I'm the number one guy, but they don't push me back till Tuesday. I told my wife when I left to go. So I went to Detroit Saturday. I think it was Saturday. Saturday. I was supposed to go from Jacksonville to Detroit. I told my wife. I told my wife. I said, I'm going to Detroit. I'm going to get a deal done. We had just played them. Okay, I'm like, you got Barry Sanders. Charlie Batch was the quarterback second year. Charlie wasn't gonna be Joe Burrow or Pat Mahomes, anything like that. But a good game for him is 16 for 22, 215 yards, maybe one or two touchdowns, no picks. If he can do that, we control the ball. And I figured by his third year, he will have grown. So I'm thinking the next third year, we can have a chance to make a run. We got Herman Moore, Johnny Morton. We got those guys. We had good linebacker Stephen Boyd. We drafted Chris Claiborne.
Yeah.
Chris Claiborne was a rookie. Drafted him. We had Mark Carrier, safety, USC. We had Bryant Westbrook, who was a first round pick from Texas.
Yeah.
And the other corner was Terry Fair from Phoenix, T. Feasy.
Okay.
Terry Fair, first round draft pick, great punt returner. So I'm like, okay, Robert Porcher, Pro Bowler, Luther Ellis, 6'5", strongest guy I ever played with in my life. And so, so I'm like, okay, I can come and help. Tracy Sprocket was the other defensive end. Tracy had about 70 sacks in his career. So us up front, I'm like, I can solidify this front. We're gonna be able to dominate. We did play some good ball, Robert had his career high in sacks, went to the Pro Bowl. Luther went to his only two Pro Bowls playing with me there, So I always try to, like I said, build the guys around me, and I'm gonna get mine too, but we're gonna be good. So that's why my thinking was. So I went to Detroit, and they thought that Jacksonville was coming to steal me out of town. Because I went to my physical, it took me a while to get back. They thought the GM that came in was like, "No, we gotta get you out of here," because you don't sign a deal. And man, the money just kept going up. And so it worked out. And I was like, you know what? I like Detroit. I like it here. And so that's how I wound up in Detroit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So tell everybody, man, because we ain't got much time left. Tell everybody what now is Mr. James Alfie Jones up to these days, man?
Man, these days I am not retired, but for the last 4 years, I drove a roll-off truck. I grew up around trucks with my dad. He had his own tire business, and I always wanted to get my CDL, so I did that. I've done that for the last 4 years. Stopped that in February. And so right now, I've been working on remodeling my house, man. That's been taking up all my time. It'll be a year next month in a couple of days that we've been working on this house. Done touched everything but a closet. So my closet, only thing ain't been touched, you know what I'm saying? So that's been taking all my time. What's next? I don't know, man. I might have to come in with y'all every couple what's happening, But I'm in that stage right now. And once I finish that, I gotta have a little knee surgery eventually here from my playing days. But then once I get all that stuff squared away, I'm not sure what exactly is going to be next. I'm in that mode of prayer and asking the Holy Spirit to lead me to what it is He wants me to do and what it was He want me to say. Because the one thing I want to do, man, with the rest of my life is that I want to encourage people to be, first of all, tell them about the Lord, but secondly, to be the best that they can be.
There you go.
And encourage them. It's easy to tear people down.
That's right.
You're not doing this, you're not doing that, whether it's kids or adults. We all have had trauma and different things in our life, and different people have spoken things to us. But if we can speak life into people and tell them, hey, you are special, you are a beautiful creation, you have a purpose. And a lot of times that's all they need.
Yep.
And so that's what I want to do for the rest of my days here, is to be able to encourage, starting first at home with my wife and my daughter, my family, and then going out and talking to other people about that. So how that looks, how it comes, whether it's a podcast or whether even sharing this with this, like I said, I want to share the realness.
Yes.
The things I didn't do right and learning from those mistakes, but knowing that you can overcome, you can persevere from them. And whether this is somebody's dream that's watching this right now, I would tell you to go for it. Do what you do the best that you can. But if it doesn't work out, doesn't mean you're a failure
Right.
because you tried. Just like your podcast. I saw the passion in you that you had passion that you this is something I want to do because I like talking sports. I said, man, do that. And you was like, you know what? I'm gonna go do that. And now when I get my links, and you'd be like, hey, yeah, check it out. Check it out. And I'd be like, okay, okay, okay. You doing your thing.
Look, me and MP,
Uh-huh.
look, none of this is done. None of this is possible without MP.
Mm-hmm.
This is a me and him thing. This
Right.
is my nephew.
Right.
This is my family,
Mhm.
and we want to do this together, and we doing it, man.
And you do it,
MP,
yeah.
what you got? Any other question you want to ask before we get out?
Well, people already asked pretty much what I was going to ask.
Mhm.
Some of the questions, but I'm gonna ask a question from somebody I don't know whether you know him or not. Orlando sound like Amara. How does it feel? How do you feel about your performance in that Steelers game?
That game,
Steelers game. I don't. Yeah.
I felt pretty good about it, because when you're in the moment, you don't really think of it that way. But for the most part, I felt good. One thing that kind of made me feel good about that was that, like I said, Steeler game is always physical. And my rookie year, the second time we played Pittsburgh, I kind of hit the wall and I got pulled from the game. I'll never forget, Nick Saban pulled me out because I was getting pushed up out of there. I had lost weight. I got sick, lost a lot of weight, and they was bringing it. And it was kind of like redemption, you know. And I could always walk off a field after every game I played, knowing that I gave my all. I mean, because after games, I couldn't sleep at night. My body would be so tired that I usually would sit on the floor in my living room, and if I fell asleep, I usually fell asleep on the floor because the bed just was too soft and it just didn't feel right for me because I had just given everything I had. And so when I left the game, I was mentally drained. I could have played another year. Another story about that was Belichick called me to come to New England the year when Bledsoe got knocked out. I got released by Detroit. And so I was on the street, and Belichick called me when he come to New England. One of my partners was up there already playing there. So I called him. I'm like, hey, man, what y'all gonna do this year? I know Bledsoe just got knocked out. What's up, y'all gonna do this year, man? He said, man, we ain't going nowhere. Man, after the Tuck game,
Oh my God.
after the Tuck game, they done rolled. Now this is a game like 5. Yeah.
I'm about to say that's when Tom Brady took over
That's when
for
Tom Brady, and they won the
we
Super Bowl.
all know the history of what happened with that.
Exactly.
So he's basically saying he should have went to New England because he probably had a Super Bowl ring on his finger right now.
Exactly. I was 2 years away from Denver because I got released in '96. They won in '97.
Oh man!
And when I got released in Detroit 2001, they won the Super Bowl that year. And
Man, call your one right now, man.
I tell him all the time. He
Top of calling her there.
He wound up getting 2 or 3 there because
Yeah,
played Tom Brady. Yeah, he played the first one, but he was already in like his 11th year. He played the first one, and then the second one he was kind of a backup. So he got 2 rings, but he got 2 rings. Yeah, man. And so I never forget. I called him, and I was like, man, what y'all gonna do? Because I'm just not gonna go anywhere. And he was like, man, nah. He's like, we ain't gonna do nothing. And like I said, so I had calls from Minnesota, my old line coach. I didn't want to go there, so I had a chance to go to the Bears. It should have been a dream for me because
my
team
God.
walked paid.
Oh my God!
So
I got to end the show. I got to end the show. That was a mistake.
Before
He said he was going to go to the Bears.
No, before that,
I got to end the show.
but check this out. You like this, so when I got released by Detroit in 2001, first team to call me was Green Bay.
Yeah.
That's what you should have went.
Well, we played Green Bay that weekend. They were playing Green Bay that Sunday. They were trying to bring me in to get information. They was going to cut me again. So I was like, nah.
Oh, man, so this
Yeah.
Wow.
That's some boy. That's some old house stuff.
They wanted me to come in, so I got released that Saturday morning. They was gonna fly me up that evening and kind of be on the sidelines, get the calls. I knew what that was about.
Oh man, they trying to use information.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna go to Chicago, but I drove over to Chicago, Detroit, called my agent, and said I was going to take a physical. I was like, I'm done. That's how you do it.
Look like this how we're gonna end the show. We're gonna end the show, man. Go on. You got some closing comments, anything?
This has been a wonderful, wonderful time, man. I so appreciate you doing this interview, man. I hope everybody enjoyed it, man. This is was our very first time interviewing somebody. You know, we all live in studio right now, and this is very, very special for us, man. So thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in and watching, and we really appreciate it. And over there, we get right back to you.
Yes, sir. So y'all know what time it is, man. We had James Alfie Jones in the building. Y'all know what time it is, man. Go if you don't know about him, go pull him up, check him out, see his profile, all his handles, blow him up, man. Say you seen him on R Take On Sportz, cause that's what we do, man. Y'all know what time it is. I flew all the way to the West Coast from the South, from Atlanta, to chime in with these fellas, man, and it's been a great show, Mister former NFL player, you got any closing comments you want to say to the people that's live right now with you?
I just want to say thanks, R Take On Sportz, for allowing me to come in and share with you all. Keep checking these guys out. They're working hard, they're grinding, and they're having fun. And that's the biggest thing. They're gonna give information, and I'm sure my boy's gonna be calling me. Hey man, what you think about this? Give them something they can put out on the show.
Absolutely.
Any in-depth information I got, and this thing's gonna grow and continue to be good. Again, appreciate you guys for checking us out.
Hey man, there it is, man. And y'all know what time it is. Like always, man. This is y'all host, my co-host, Mr. GPG.
And that's your host right there, Mr. MP80 Baby.
And this is
Our Take on Sports.
Bow, Bow, Bow. We'll catch y'all later, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right.